Hi guys, it is Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my eyeshadow palettes. Surprisingly, these videos are very popular and people seem to love them. Every video that I've done on my channel about eyeshadow palettes has done really well, and I don't understand why. It must just be an interest to people's. But I have seen this kind of tag going around. I don't know what it's called, but it's just like people talking about their eyeshadow palettes. I can link down below a few of them that I have watched recently and seen, like Jessica Braun, Ashley Clady. I know like Samantha March, Allie Glines, they've all done them, so I'll link any videos that I've watched or seen inspiration of this down below. I definitely need to do declutter soon. I thought about doing it today. I might film a declutter today. I'm not exactly sure yet. There's some products, like I feel like there's so many things that I'm not using in my collection, but my collection I feel like can only declutter so much. Since my last declutter, I haven't gotten really anything new, besides like a mascara, I think. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a declutter yet, but I will soon because I do want to do a makeup inventory. I haven't done one since August of last year, and I thought about doing one in January, but it was super hard because half my collection is here at home and the other half was at school. But now that I'm completely moved back home again, I figured I could probably do it now. It has changed a little, but long story short, I will get to that some other time. But today I'm going to share with you guys my eyeshadow palettes. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get into it. Okay, so the first topic, category that's of palettes is newest. So my newest palettes that I have purchased are the e.l.f. Bite Size. I got these honestly a couple months ago. I think it was February maybe when I purchased them, January, February. And these are the e.l.f. Bite Size shadows. I've talked about these a few times on my channel. These actually are going to be fitting into a couple categories from my eyeshadow palettes just because I actually enjoy these and they fit a lot of categories. This is just the most recent one I bought. They're great. They're inexpensive. You get 4 shadows. I'm pretty sure they're $3 each. And I have 3 of them. I have Rose Water. I have Cream and Sugar, which is more, Rose Water is more purple. Cream and Sugar is more like goldeny, neutrally. Truffles is a little bit deeper, but you have more transition shades. So I really like all of these, and I think they're great palettes. If you're looking for a cheaper, inexpensive palette, this is a great one. Especially because like I feel like the smaller, petite, not as huge palettes are more in now. My oldest palette that I have is for sure my Urban Decay Naked 2. I'm pretty sure this was the first eyeshadow palette I ever got. This I've had for a long time. I think she's starting to get old. I've had this since I was in 8th or 9th grade. This is like 5 or 6 years old, you guys. I should probably get rid of this. Not only that, but I don't ever use it. This is definitely my oldest palette, but this was the first, when I was looking at eyeshadow palettes that I wanted, this was like the first one that I would research and figure out Naked 1 versus Naked 2. I chose the Naked 2 over the Naked 1 the very first time, but I could see why, because I do like a lot more cool tones than I do warm tones. I don't love warm tones on me. I like more cool tones. Today I have like a warm but kind of cool tone look. I like more pinky. I do love these shades, but I never used this. I really didn't use it that much, to be honest. It does have good shades, but like there's no transition shades besides this one matte. Otherwise it's a matte, a matte, a matte. That's it. Never use like dark shimmers, and I just never reach for it. It's a good palette. I mean, the shadows aren't bad, but definitely don't ever reach for it, and it's definitely my oldest. Most expensive goes along with the Naked palettes again. I believe these are the most expensive ones in my collection. I do not have super expensive. I mean, these are $54. I know you cannot get this original Naked palette anymore. This one's definitely newer. I think it's a couple years newer because I haven't had this one as long as my Naked 2. Naked 1, Naked 2. They're similar but different. So I'm sitting here editing this video, and I did not realize that the Naked 2 is discontinued as well as the Naked 1. So I did mention both, but you can't get either. I'm sorry. So I linked down below just a link to all of the Naked palettes that are available right now on their site, but I don't know why they got rid of them. But just so you know, I am now aware that neither of them are available. I think Naked 1 might be a little more workable than Naked 2, but they're very similar, to be honest. They are so similar. Yeah, don't ever use either of them. I want to use my Naked 1 more just because it's such a classic. You can't get this anymore, so I can't even really talk about it because they redid it. But I don't buy Naked palettes anymore. I just don't really use them ever, and they're really expensive. They're $54. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. for other categories, but definitely these are my most expensive ones. My most affordable are the e.l.f. Bite Size, like I mentioned. The LA Girl quads, I don't know what they're called, mesmerizing quads or something. This one's in the shade Urbanize. These are on sale at Ulta right now for like $3 or so. So definitely, if you can get your hands on these, I really like these. I use this shade as my brow, filled in my brows for the longest time. Now it's kind of dark, but this is an all matte one in the shade Urbanize. Did I say that? But I really like their shadows. They're super great, and they're inexpensive too. So e.l.f. or LA Girl are both great. Everyday palette, I chose the Tartelette in Bloom. A lot of bigger YouTubers don't like this palette because it's not the most pigmented, not the most down, intense shadows. But I have always called this the perfect mom palette. And you wanna know why? Because most moms don't want to spend an hour and a half on their makeup every day, and they want something that's quick and easy, not some type of shadows that are super intense and take more time to blend, and a lot of them just want like a light wash. Honestly, I do too. This is the perfect everyday palette for me because yeah, the shadows aren't the most like intense, but they're still pigmented, they still blend fine, and it's just the perfect like everyday palette. Smells like chocolate, vanilla, sweetness. You open it up and you get a whiff. It's just very beautiful. Honestly, all the time I use these 6 with this one. If I want it deeper, I use this one. The only shades I don't really use are like, I mean, I honestly would use them all. When I want darker shades, these two are very similar, but I still use them. This one I don't use as often, or this one, but they're both really pretty. Again, I just don't reach for darker shimmers, but this is a perfect everyday palette. If you are looking for one and you want to buy a higher end one, but you want one that's quick and simple, you throw it on in your lid, in your crease, and just go. This is what you would want. And they're not super expensive. Tarte is like higher end, but I believe this is like 30 something. So if you don't want to spend the $54 on like a naked palette, or Natasha Denona, which is 100 or 60 or whatever, definitely go for this if you're wanting to splurge. I was gifted this from a subscriber. Absolutely love it. The most colorful. I don't do a lot of colorful looks. Sometimes I'll dip in it for fun. If I'm going to be going places, I don't do colorful looks, but I do have a couple palettes that have colors just for fun, especially like when I was in high school and in college, when you kind of dress up for football more in high school. But there's like a bug in the vent up there. I hope you can't really hear that. It's not too distracting. But when I did like dress up, it was nice to have some fun, colorful colors. And I still like to have like at least one palette on hand that might have some colors. So this is the Profusion Wanderlust palette. This is super pretty. This was sent to me. I never even bought this, so that's another reason why I have it, but it's an okay palette. I really like this shade. I wear this shade a lot. I used to, anyway. Very pretty palette. It's not the most like blendable, intense palette, but it's like $10 and you get all these shades and it's workable, so I really like that about it. I also have the Morphe 3503 Fierce by Nature. Isaac gave this to me for my birthday? Nope. Our 1-year anniversary. This is a very intense, colorful palette. This is like bright pinks and oranges, but beautiful shades, super pigmented on the eyes. And again, this is not like a huge array of color, but it's definitely bright colors that are really gorgeous. And the shimmer, how can you not want to dip into this glittery shade? That has to be up in the light. That's actually like so annoying. Can you hear that? Smallest, again, e.l.f. Bite Size, or this LA Girl one, the e.l.f. Bite Size, or even the smallest. I already talked about it. The biggest would definitely be Morphe 3503 or the Jaclyn Hill palette. Absolutely love this palette by Morphe. I've heard they might have reformulated it though. I just really like this. I think this is a great palette to have, especially like when I do makeup on other people. Definitely like the one palette I reach for because I trust it and it's a good formula. Best memory, I would say, would be this e.l.f. booklet, which this was like in a Christmas set many years ago, but I got it for Christmas from my dad, and for some reason it's just sentimental to me because he bought it and he knows I like makeup, and obviously it's like one of these cheaper ones that's not the best quality or anything, and I don't really ever wear it, but I just keep it just for the sentimental purpose. And I've talked about it a few times when I like bring up my palettes, but this is just one that I've just always kept. I should reach into it a little bit. They're not great shadows and they're tiny, more of like a kid's thing, but it's just, there's just something about it that it's just very sentimental to me, so that's why I keep it, and that's why I still love to have it. Or I would say the other one that's kind of sentimental to me is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, just because this was another one of the first few products or eyeshadow palettes that I got. I think it was like the second one, and I researched and researched and researched and tried to find which one I should get. And I just love it. It smells amazing, and it's just one of those that I probably won't repurchase once I get rid of, just because I don't really use it. I actually used it today because I was going through this list and thinking about like all my palettes and looking back on them, and this is one that it's just a classic. And I don't really reach for these shades here, that. So I don't even use half the palette. I don't use that one. So in the end, it's old, so I'm not going to really give it to anybody, but once I get rid of it, I probably won't repurchase. But it's just a classic, and it just reminds me of back in the past when I used to have it. So something that's worth the hype are actually ColourPop shadows. Did Jessica mention this in her worth the hype? I haven't watched her video in a few weeks, so I can't remember. She might have. But when I first thought of this, I was like, there's so many palettes that are good, but the amount of hype that ColourPop gets with their eyeshadows is a lot. And I would say it's absolutely worth it because they're great shadows for the price. They're not the cheapest, but even the same with these e.l.f. ones, this is worth the hype too because they're great. I did not talk very positively about these e.l.f. ones in the past. Like I thought like, oh, they're just like good shadows. But when you really think about it, you're getting 4 shadows for $3 and they're this good of quality. I mean, obviously that's good. I was just being a little harsh. This one is definitely worth the hype. Just ColourPop shadows in general. I do want to buy more ColourPop palettes, but I'm in the process of not buying a lot of makeup right now to, one, not waste the money, and two, I have so much that I just need to use. I can't just collect it all because I'm never going to use it, and it's just a waste. But this is the Double Entendre palette from ColourPop. But any ColourPop shadows, even their Super Shock single shadows, those are amazing. Their shadows are just a great formula. Their metallics look like they're like wet, and then their mattes are just really blendable. They just work really easily, and they're great for everyday too. So this would be a great everyday palette. So definitely ColourPop shadows are worth the hype. Along with this Jacqueline one, I do want to throw this one back in here because I really like this palette. I have heard that they've reformulated it. I know Jen Love Reviews did a video. I will link that down below on comparing the old to the new. It's very fascinating, by the way. Her videos are just very fascinating. You should check her out. I hit pan. I've had this palette for so long and I just love it. I use it all the time. I use it on people, especially when I did prom makeup. I loved this so much. So definitely, this is the very first one. This isn't the newer packaging, but I think that they're pretty much the same quality. They're not a whole lot different. So definitely this is one that I always like to have on hand, and I probably would, if I do have a freelance kit eventually, would like to keep this in my freelance kit. Palettes that aren't worth the hype, I'd have to say, are the Naked ones. I haven't tried the newer ones. I haven't tried the new Naked Reloaded. Is that the new one? The honey one, the cherry one. I haven't tried any of the new ones. I don't even have the Naked 3, but I really do not think that they are worth the hype. They're $54. You can buy amazing shadows like ColourPop for like 10 or 12. These for $3. You can just get the same quality, if not better, for cheaper. So I really do not think that these palettes are worth the hype. Even though they're classics and I do like them, they're just not worth the hype. I don't use them. Again, favorite palette from a favorite brand, I'd have to say, are these e.l.f. ones. The last time I'm going to mention these, but these are definitely just a great palette to have on hand, especially if you don't want to have a big clunky palette. I brought these to college. I use them all the time. This is literally my go-to shadows right now. If I had to have like a go-to eyeshadow, everyday shadow that I use all the time for me personally, it would be these e.l.f. Bite Size, because these are just, they're just so easy to quickly grab and throw on, and they're beautiful. Last but not least, an underrated palette, I would say, are these Makeup Revolution ones. These are like $7, and they have so many options. They are talked about, but I do think that they are really underhyped. Are they like my favorite eyeshadow formula of all time? No. Do I think that they're like the most effortless blending shadows? Not necessarily, but do I think that they do a good job and get the job done? And do I think it takes me more time to blend these than my other shadows? Not necessarily. I don't think that I have to spend a whole lot more time on these. If anything, I would buy these for the shimmers. I would recommend this palette because the shimmers are beautiful, and I still use the mattes. Like they're fine. They're not like the most blendable, like easy, effortless blendable shadows, but they're still ones that I use all the time. And these shimmers are gorgeous. If you can get your hands on the Hypnotic by Makeup Revolution or Reloaded palettes, the one Hypnotic. Last one, I swear. I feel like I've changed as a person. Hair up, blue light glasses on, but the hypnotic one that I was talking about, it's not on Ulta for some reason, but you can find it on Makeup Revolution's site. All of the other ones, like the Velvet Rose one, is on Ulta's site. I'm not sure why the hypnotic one isn't, but I linked the Ulta site one. But if you want this specific hypnotic one that I just mentioned, then you can find that on Makeup Revolution's site. That's this one. It's beautiful. It's like an Anastasia dupe. If you want some Anastasia dupes, this brand does it. This one's for another Anastasia palette. This one is Velvet Rose. Don't reach for this one as much, but I still like this one. So if you find one that you like, they're $7 and they're actually not that bad. For 15 shadows for $7, that's decently priced, and I think they're kind of underhyped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. I would love to have you stick around. Let me know any of your palettes that you have for these categories. I'd love to know. Let me know if some YouTubers that you've seen done this video. I'd love to check their videos out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.